Hey everyone, welcome to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I am joined by special guest Yasir, who is CEO and founder of Transform Your Body, a community-focused training program that is worldwide. Hi, Yasir.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So tell me all about this really cool training program that you've started.
Um, well, I'm Yasir Khan. Basically, I'm from Bhopal, India, and I started training like 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, the reason for me to train was completely different than what it is today. That was the time I wanted to find myself. That was the time I wanted to just feel that I belong somewhere, because that's before that that's a different story, how I was raised and how I've grown up. So the point was, I started training, I started working on myself, but I did not see a lot of, you know, my kind of thinking and mentality while I was training, while I was going to gym. And then I decided like to transform, because I was just not happy transforming my body. I wanted to live a better life. I wanted to, because I've never been to school or never been to college. So I wanted to educate myself, and I wanted to experience, and there was always a question why some people are living a good life, why some people are happy and the others are not. um, some people used to say like, oh, it's some money, or it's relationship, it's this and that. But then in front of me there was like the people who had a lot of money who were still struggling and suffering. Then the people who were in relationship is still struggling and suffering. So what was that? Then I found out that it's a state of mind, and how you work on state of mind, how you train your subconscious mind, you start getting those things back in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started. And of course, when I'm talking about it, it sounds really easy, um, because now when I'm explaining, so I'm explaining that yes, I had those questions and I found the answers. But trust me, every single answer what I just explained took many years
Of
to
course.
understand. Yeah. And the other thing is, like, no matter how many books you read, no matter how many coaches you hire to explain it to you or to understand, make you understand, but until and unless you are not ready and you reach to that point, yes, now you're ready to see the other side of this answer, then only
Mm-hmm.
you figure it out. So yes, I reached to that point, and through my hardships and my struggles, um, I got these answers. So that's how I started. Then moving on from Bhopal to different cities, then the countries, then I reached to Dubai. And when I came here and I saw people were so blessed, I'm being honest, like, this part of the world, people were like very blessed with every luxury, everything, but they were still like in pain. And I wanted to, I, I, I mean, I just wanted to help, and I wanted to, like, okay, fine, I wanted to make money, I wanted to have a good lifestyle,
As we
make
all
my
do.
living, provide to my family. Yeah, provide to my family. All that is one side. But then when people joined me and when I started connecting with more and more people, I realized that if they're just paying is not enough, but what is the outcome they are getting from me? I want to help and I want to transform. I want
Yeah.
to make them live a better life. The more I transform people, the more it makes sense that I'm charging and I'm taking money from them and it's helping me. Otherwise, if someone else, whoever is coming to me and just paying, and that money never grown in me, like, that money never helped me to become or live a better life. I was still having, so what gave me this real happiness is when I see lives were changing, when I see people transforming. So that's how I started. That's the uniqueness of the program.
I see. Wow, what an incredible story. I feel like there's so many things I want to talk about here. My first
Yeah.
kind of question from what you've just said is you mentioned that you didn't really go to college, you didn't kind of have that higher education. If I may ask,
Yeah.
what, obviously, like, being an entrepreneur and starting your own business is difficult enough without having, like, an MBA or such. So how do you feel like you were prepared to start this business?
I think what worked in my favor is because the reason that I did not go to a school, that worked in my favor. The reason I did not read books, or I did not go to, I mean, not the books like the syllabus books, the school, college books. I
Yeah.
did not read any of them. That worked in me because everyone is educated. Everyone who is doing business are doing, I mean, they know the system. and I didn't
Right.
know the system. So that uniqueness, that the different kind of mentality, different mindset came and did so well in the business industry, in this industry, and now we are growing even to next level. So I think that worked. Um, I've grown up in a very difficult environment. I was sent to madrasa, it's like Islamic boarding, from the age of 4 till the age of 13. So I've lived like in 20 different places. Um, that was quite a difficult time for me because I didn't want to live there. And like if you're living somewhere like that at the age of 4, um, and if you become stubborn that you don't want to, then forget it, that you don't want to, because you're growing up with that stubbornness.
Yeah.
And but all those negative points of mine actually work in my favor now, that I am that stubborn, and I am that, if I want something, if I now, but towards the good things, towards, now I'm not stubborn about my life, or I
Mm-hmm.
want to run away from the way it used to be in madrasa. Now my stubbornness is like, if I want to help someone, if I want to transform someone, I just want to do it at any cost, anyhow. I'll go to any extent. I'll do anything. I'll
Right.
find ways to convince this person, and to make, because I see the outcome is not just through one person. I see the outcome through the family and the friends of that one particular person. Because if transformation was that easy, everyone would have accepted it. That's the thing,
That's
that
very true.
transformation is not easy.
That's
You
very true.
yourself will never accept. You yourself would never want to, because your comfort lies in not transforming.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you ask your parents, ask your friends, ask the closest people who actually want the best for you. They would say like, wow, this is magical. And you would be like, really? But I'm suffering here. Yeah, but that's the thing. Outcome of suffering is your reward in as transformation.
I see. Okay. Very interesting. So obviously, like you had a very unconventional road to starting your business. You kind of educated yourself and had your own work experience, which is what gave you the foundation to build your business. What would you say has been your biggest obstacle in creating this program, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest obstacle is, I would say, like everything. I would not say just one thing that, okay, no, I knew this
Fair.
really well and I was good at it. I was not good at anything, if I'll be honest with you. Um, like it's very difficult for me to read faster. I still read very slow. I still take time. I make a lot of mistakes in my grammatical mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes when it comes to creating system. So I would say the biggest obstacle was to understand the system, understand, you know how to deal with people, especially because I was very good at dealing people when it comes to, um, when it comes to clients, when it comes to inspiring and motivating. But
Mm-hmm.
to find right people and hire them, and like, they do wrong to you, like for whatever reasons that usually happen in work, and then you're still sticking to the same ideology and same concept. So that was the most difficult part, like sticking to my own ideology, even though when my team did not believe in me, even though when people did not believe in me. So holding on to that mindset for years and years, that was the most difficult part. Apart from that, everything is about learning. I
Of
learned
course.
on the go and reached here.
Wow. Just to like hear like you're probably one of the most unique entrepreneurs I've met, because you have such an inspiring story in how you essentially brought yourself to this position and took the tools that you had and made it work in a different way. And it's just incredible to see how you've come this far with like the background that you've had. So you mentioned before that it's really hard to like to help people to understand they need the transformation, or how the transformation will benefit them. Do you have any kind
Yeah.
of like weird or funny or crazy stories with clients, or anything that kind of brought you along this journey?
Yeah, so understand one thing, that I train and I transform people who were like kind of next to impossible to transform, the kind of lifestyle they have lived. So I did not transform anyone who was, like already into fitness, going to gym and training hard and already driven. So my work is completely the opposite of than these people. So usually trainers, that's why I don't call my program a personal training program, because clients usually go to them, but I
Mm,
invite people, I encourage them through subconsciously and, through different ways, that you need to come to me in order to change your life. So
right.
that's a very different way. So just like training, so there was like one there is one client of mine who kind of, when she joined me, she was like, everything what I said, she challenged, like, no, it's not. I, like, just for an example, like, she started training 11 a.m. and I was like, well, fine, initially it's okay, but I tell you that you will be training 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
Yeah.
and you won't believe that she actually comes to gym at 5:30 a.m. That's the time is her session.
Now
So
she does that.
yeah, 5:30 a.m. nonstop, 5 times a week, nonstop.
Wow.
She's with me since last over 2 years now, over 2 years, nonstop, 5 times a week, and that's incredible. And these are the things which is like kind of very funny, which, on my face, they told me that no, it's not going to happen, it cannot happen, blah blah blah. And then eventually it's like the same thing is happening, and they're telling me like, wow, you were right. And so just dealing with that kind of situation is, I find it really funny, because you know I like, you have to really literally love your clients, you literally have to be in love with them, because the kind of situations you will face in this journey, if you are one of those trainers who are just thinking about how many sessions and the money and the time, then
Mm-hmm.
forget it. Then yes, stick to personal training only, not transformation. When you're coming to transformation, it's a 24/7 job. And that's why I have a team of like close to 50 people right now. And since we are opening this new TYB place, it's going to be close to 150 people. So that's a team. That's the strength of the team.
That's amazing. The fact that you said that, like, people will come to you and be like, I'm going to decide what time I train today. You're not going to tell me what
Yeah,
time I'm going to be in the gym. And
yeah.
it's like, give it a week. We'll see what happens. And then they're like, ah, shit, I'm here
Yeah,
at 5:30.
exactly. And I never push people for training or changing the time. I
Mm,
always, the way I deal with them is like, I inspire them through showing my own life and showing what I do, how my routine is. And then once they get tired of just seeing the same routine, it's like, you don't you get tired, like you're doing since last so many years. I mean, don't you have a life like the weekend? I mean, I have everything. It's just like I live it like in a way. And then eventually, and I said, like, if you want the results, just do the same thing. And
mm.
then once they try and they start getting results, start changing their life.
I see. Okay, very interesting. I can imagine your face being like, I'm gonna let them talk and think that they're in control, but then they're gonna figure out very soon they're not in control. Um, that's really great though. That's great to hear. So, what would be your kind of final piece of advice for the listeners of this episode?
Okay, so as I said, like from the beginning, that what worked for me in this industry is like, because I was not educated, and I didn't go to school, or I didn't go to college, so I was not a part of the system. That's why I could create something different. The
Right.
same thing I would give, even if you are, if you want to be transformed, if you want to transform others, both ways, I would say, do it from the bottom of your heart, and do not do it just because the industry says such, or you have read one book, someone said something, and that's how it works. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to be very, very honest, because this industry and this work is very pure, because you're dealing with humans' emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not physical, it's secondary, it's first, primary, it's psychological and very emotional. So learn to deal with people's emotions, and then the outcome will be the transformation. So that's one advice which I can give to both, whoever wants to be a part of this industry and help others, or those who are actually looking to transform their life.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I love the authenticity and like how candid you've been in this episode. And I really appreciate you taking me through, like, both your successes and some of the tougher times you've been through. I feel like I can feel the pure and honest intent that you have with what you do. And I'm sure that you're transforming the lives of many people. And hopefully this continues as you expand your business throughout the region.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much for your time on the show. Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and it's an honor to share my story with you and all the listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, and have an amazing day. Bye.